Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you a mystery thriller film named Searching Part 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The story begins with a home video shot in 2008 featuring a father and daughter playfully interacting in a room. Everything seems perfect until the mother takes over the camera and the father in the scene starts bleeding from his nose. The scene then cuts back to the computer desktop where someone has edited the video to stop at the moment when the father starts bleeding. The file is renamed The Last Family Trip and moved to a folder after deleting the Google account associated with it. Fast forward to June 2022, a girl named June is watching a show while chatting with her best friend, seemingly plotting something. Her mother, Grace, calls to inform her that she is about to travel to Colombia with her boyfriend. While driving, Grace tells June where the keys are and other important details. June, however, doesn't take it seriously and carelessly types random letters on a notepad. For her daughter's safety, Grace entrusts her own keys to her lawyer friend, who could check on June whenever necessary. After giving Jude some money, Grace hangs up the phone. Soon after, Grace's boyfriend, Kevin, returns and asks June how her old computer is working, as he apparently fixed it for her. Grace then instructs June to pick her up from the airport the following Monday, before leaving with Kevin. June watches them leave through the front door camera and receives a text from her mother, asking her to clean her voicemail. The rebellious Jude doesn't reply, but simply likes the message. After her mother leaves, June and her best friend plan a week-long party, like many other teenagers who have just been left alone by their parents. Upon receiving a photo from Kevin showing that her mother has boarded the plane, June invites her friend over with alcohol. However, the front door camera detects someone arriving. It's the lawyer, who is the person Grace entrusted to look after June. The lawyer brings June dinner. Clearly, June is not happy with her presence. After sending her away, June and her friend start their week-long party. During this time, Kevin keeps sending photos of their trip in Colombia. The next day is Father's Day, and although June feels sad seeing other people's photos, she still invites a group of people to her house for a wild party that night. At the party, June drinks a lot, and later, she watches her childhood videos with her father, feeling melancholic. It turns out her father had passed away from brain cancer, not long after the video was shot. At the last day, June wakes up at 11 a.m. and is reminded by her daily schedule that she needs to pick up her mother and Kevin from the airport. Looking at the messy room, she hires a cleaner through a gig website, leaves the key under the doormat, and rushes to the airport. June holds a sign to welcome her mother and Kevin, but after waiting for several hours and watching all passengers from their flight leave with their luggage, her mother and Kevin never show up. She tries calling her mother, but gets no answer. She then contacts the hotel her mother stayed at. However, the hotel staff informs her that Grace and Kevin have already gone, but left all their luggage in the room. When she sees there's a security camera at the hotel's entrance, she requests to view the footage. The hotel staff tells her she can come and watch it, but the footage will only be stored for 48 hours before being automatically deleted. At a loss for what to do, June turned to her mother's lawyer friend. The lawyer quickly helped her get in touch with the local embassy. However, since it was already late, they could only file a report and wait until the next day when the embassy reopened. The following day, Agent Parker from the U.S. Embassy in Colombia contacted June. Although June kept asking Parker to check the surveillance footage, Parker told her that they didn't have the authority to investigate in Colombia and could only collaborate with local departments. Parker then asked June if her mother exhibited any unusual behavior before her disappearance. June looked through the messages and photos sent by Kevin, but found nothing abnormal. Parker suggested that June check her mother's email or other apps that could provide location information. June recalled the Netflix account password that her mother had sent her before. She tried logging into her mother's Google account, but was unsuccessful. 4 hours later, there was still no progress, and she complained to her best friend about the embassy's inefficiency. Her friend sent her a link to a local live streaming website, but the website only showed live footage of major attractions, not the entrance to her mother's hotel. At that moment, June received a reminder from the delivery service she had used earlier. It gave her an idea. She could hire a local person to help. She found a local delivery service website and set the price to the minimum. June hired a local man named Javier, who could speak English. Although Javier stated that he only provided electrical services, he agreed to help June find her mother after hearing her story. He suggested that June try to locate her mother's boyfriend if they were traveling together. She first searched for Kevin's email on Google and found his personal website. She then found the website's service provider at the bottom of the page. June opened all of Kevin's social media platforms and asked her friend to call the website service provider. Based on the public info Kevin shared on social media, they answered a few simple questions and obtained his password. After trying it out, they managed to access Kevin's Google account. June immediately checked his map timeline, but on June 12th, it seemed he had turned off his location services, and they didn't get any useful information. At that moment, Javier sent a video call. He told June that the hotel's surveillance footage had been deleted, but a cleaner had seen 2 American tourists leaving on Friday. The cleaner had a strong impression of June's mother because she had spilled wine on the bedsheet. They also learned that the 2 had gone to a hardware store at noon that day. June immediately accessed her credit card website, and through her mother's transaction history, she discovered her mother had made a purchase in an area. June then sent Javier the addresses of all the hardware stores in that area. Javier said he would buy a pack of gum at each store so they could match the stores through the bank codes. After hanging up with Javier, June went through Kevin's emails again. She saw a photo sent to him by a woman and noted her email address. The friend suggested checking Kevin's blocked contacts list, where June found 27 women's accounts, all with different names for Kevin, and asking for their money back. June searched for Kevin's various names on Google and found the local court notice, revealing that Kevin was not only a love scammer, but also a criminal. She quickly informed Agent Parker at the embassy, but he stated that the evidence was obtained through June's illegal use of Kevin's account, and the court wouldn't accept it. June then tried searching for the email address of the woman she found in Kevin's emails. She quickly found the woman's social media profile and workplace. After calling, she was informed that they hadn't seen the woman for 2 weeks. June checked Kevin's map timeline again. She noticed that besides visiting the bar where the woman worked, Kevin had also visited another location 15 times. June used a search to get the phone number for this location, and a man named Jimmy claimed it was an organization that helped ex-convicts find employment. Apart from that, there was no other useful information to offer. Afterward, Javier brought an update on the search in Colombia. After buying gum from 15 stores, he found the store June's mother had visited and learned that they had bought a lock. However, June was puzzled as she didn't know why her mother bought a lock. She then tried searching for her mother's name in Kevin's emails, and indeed, she found the first email between her mother and Kevin. Opening the email, she saw a dating app. June logged in using Kevin's email and common password, and there she saw the entire process of how Kevin and her mother got acquainted. 6 months ago, Kevin initiated contact with June's mother and revealed their shared interests. They gradually became closer, and during this time, June's mother seemed to have shared a secret with Kevin. June returned to the map app and searched for romantic sightseeing spots in Colombia. In the list, she found the location related to locks and asked Javier to go there. Javier found the lock her mother had left behind. June then remembered the live streaming website her friend had sent her earlier, and sure enough, she saw Javier on the bridge. Going back to June 19th, June found her mother and Kevin's figures, and it looked like Kevin had proposed to her mother. Agent Parker then sent a video confirming that June's mother and Kevin had been kidnapped in Colombia. June was feeling at a loss. Just as she was about to close her computer, she noticed something was off. She carefully examined the photos Kevin had sent her and found that her mother Grace's face never appeared in full view. Going back to the first photo, she realized it was a live photo. After playing it, she discovered that the woman in the photo was not her mother, but the same woman who had been in contact with Kevin in the emails. Subsequently, Agent Parker held a press conference, declaring Kevin and the woman as suspects, and suggesting that Grace might have never left Los Angeles. The focus narrowed, and it was now believed that everything might have happened between Grace getting into a taxi and arriving at the airport. Further investigation revealed that the taxi Grace had taken was using a fake license plate. Javier also brought news that local police had arrested some local students who claimed to have been paid by Kevin and were told they were participating in a movie shoot, which is why they took part in the kidnapping. Not long after, the police arrested the woman on the plane. However, she claimed that had received money from Kevin and dressed up and performed as he requested until the kidnapping occurred, at which point she managed to escape. Agent Parker then informed June of new updates, revealing that her mother had another identity and a court case file under her name. As a result, speculation about Grace's true identity began online. June searched online using keywords related to her mother's hidden identities. Sure enough, she found an encrypted chat app in Kevin's browsing history. After resetting the password using the email, she successfully logged in and saw a chat between Kevin and someone else. She tried talking to the other person and got their phone number, but the account was then accessed from another location. She saved the number in her notes, but the system reminded her that it belonged to her mother's lawyer friend. It seemed that the lawyer must know something. At this point, June no longer trusted anyone around her. She found her friend's Apple Watch left at her house and downloaded the chat app she used with Javier so that he could call for help if anything happened to her. She then went to the lawyer's office, only to find the door unlocked. Upon entering, she discovered the computer being formatted, some photos on the table, and the lawyer's necklace on the floor. Nearby, she found the dead body of the lawyer. Agent Parker told her that the killer had arrived just minutes before her, and perhaps the lawyer knew some of Kevin's secrets and was killed for that knowledge. However, no one knew their relationship at this point. As the camera gradually panned out, the scene shifted to another computer, which was monitoring June's every move through her own computer. From the on-screen conversation, it was evident that the computer's owner was Kevin's employer, while Kevin was still hiding in various locations in Colombia. The next day, the police found Kevin in Colombia, but during the arrest, an officer shot and killed him. Now, the only lead was gone. June was feeling lost upon returning home and scrolled through her chat history with her mother and listened to her mother's voicemails. Her mother still called her the same nickname. Suddenly, June realized that this nickname might be her mother's password. Sure enough, when she entered the nickname as the password, she successfully accessed her mother's account. She first checked her mother's location on the map, but the GPS was turned off after her mother arrived at the Los Angeles airport. Next, she checked her mother's blocked contacts list and found an account. She then searched for this account in Kevin's email and found an email containing orders for surveillance equipment and the address of a surveillance management backend system. By recovering the password through the email, June successfully accessed the surveillance backend system and saw 9 camera feeds, one of which looked very familiar. After comparing the footage to her home videos, she realized that the camera was set up in the room from the home video. Just then, a man claiming to be Jimmy, who appeared multiple times in Kevin's location timeline, called her. He said that he was standing outside her house for her safety. However, June no longer trusted anyone. Just as she was about to call the police, Jimmy took off his hat, revealing himself to be June's supposedly deceased father. As it turned out, he was still alive. June was visibly shocked and disbelieving, but after a moment of calm, she opened the door, wanting to hear her father's explanation. He told her that her mother had lied about him having brain cancer and dying. He claimed she was a bad woman who not only fabricated lies about him, but also got him sent to prison. His words made June suspicious, as she knew her mother for many years. Moreover, she began to doubt the man before her, especially when she recalled the mysterious driver who had taken her mother away. Just as her friend called, the man suddenly grabbed her and dragged her into the trunk of a car. At this point, the remaining part of the home video revealed the truth. Her father, James, had not had a nosebleed due to a tumor. He was just a drug addict. In fact, he was a hidden hypocrite who became violent toward his wife when his addiction flared up. To protect herself and her daughter, Grace reported James's drug abuse to the police, resulting in a 10-year prison sentence for him. After being released from prison, James not only threatened Grace, but also demanded to see June. To get away from him and keep him from finding her, she changed to her current name Grace and moved to Los Angeles with her daughter. The lawyer had helped Grace establish a new identity back then, asking her to delete all previous information and accounts, and fabricated the story of James's illness and death. However, James eventually found her. Afterward, Kevin became his helper. He and Kevin had been cellmates in the past, and Kevin owed James a favor. In exchange for payment, Kevin planned to enter Grace's life after learning about her preferences. Together, he and James hired a local actress, the woman shown earlier, to impersonate Grace and fake her kidnapping in Colombia. In reality, Grace never even boarded the plane to Colombia, as James had disguised himself as a driver and kidnapped Grace directly. After the revelation, James took June to their old family home and tied her up in an upstairs bedroom, while Grace was locked in a shed, desperately looking for a way to escape. At that moment, James entered with a gun, tossing June's sweater in front of her, making it clear that her daughter was now tied up as well, and that she better behave. However, when he was momentarily distracted, Grace fought him off and managed to escape the shed, locking James inside. She then found her daughter in the bedroom, untied her, and the two embraced in tears. June contacted Javier on her Apple Watch, asking him to call the police and request backup. Javier saw an old Father's Day photo on June's social media, which showed the address of their old house. Just then, June lost contact with Javier as James broke out of the shed and entered the room. He threatened June, demanding her watch, and fired a shot, accidentally hitting Grace. As he tried to tie June up again, Grace stabbed him in the neck with a shard of glass. The injured James locked the two in the room again, attempting to call for emergency help, but he eventually bled to death. June apologized to her mother for her previous attitude. She felt guilty for not understanding her mother and blamed her for her father's actions. It was only now that she saw her father's true color. June suddenly remembered that her mother always used Siri to handle everything. June recalled that her mother's phone was next to the computer at home, and her laptop screen was connected to the surveillance cameras in the room. She then used Siri to access her phone and successfully made an emergency call for help, which made them ultimately rescued. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.